Who is a blogger? What is blogging? In this lesson, we will try to explore this topic and understand who exactly a blogger is. After all, most people sometimes have a mistaken opinion about blogging. And sometimes I hear that blogging has a certain, negative connotation, as if blogging is a curse word. And if it's a curse word, then it seems shameful to engage in it. In reality, a blogger is someone who communicates with the whole world online, using social media, their smartphone, and the internet to share something, specifically to talk about their identity, their inner thoughts, their ideas, and their interests, the things that matter to them. It's about what they can share. Essentially, a blogger is a person who is ready to open up to the world, who removes all boundaries, pushes past all limits, and stops worrying about how they look or what others think. It's about what can share. In essence, a blogger is a person who is ready to open up to the world, who removes all boundaries, pushes all limits, stops worrying about how he looks, how he thinks, and just shows the world who they are, what they like, and how they live. Yes, I get it. At first, this might sound a bit strange and maybe even a little scary, but don't rush to close this course. Don't rush to stop. Trust me. You can do that at the very end of my lessons if you decide to. I would be sad, of course, but you'll have that option at the end. You can do that at the very end of my lessons if you decide to. I'll be sorry, of course, but you'll have this opportunity in the end. So let's get through this entire course to the very end and make our conclusions afterward. Who is a blogger? Specifically, what should a blogger show? First of all, a blogger doesn't owe anything to anyone. Each of us has interests that are our hobbies. They are our hobbies. We enjoy them. They are our hobbies. We like it. We do this every day and we start showing it. And of course, if we mindlessly create content and just throw it online, we won't get very far. A little later, we will talk about the content plan, how to create it, how it works, and how to identify interesting content. But the most important thing is that this content shouldn't just be interesting to us. Or rather, it shouldn't be interesting to us at all. We're creating content for our audience because if you only talk about yourself, your day, and how you spend your free time, you won't keep a large audience. Your job is to feed what there is demand for. It's kind of like marketing. I've been in marketing for over 15 years, so I know what I'm talking about. So, when there is demand, your job is to satisfy that demand with your content. So, create content that is interesting to your target audience. Blogging is, as I said, a little more than just a hobby. It's your communication, your self-expression in various ways. And of course, blogging is a tremendous opportunity that allows you to tell about yourself, your product, your goals, and share your story and attract attention, which will help develop your business and perhaps even attract investors to some project. I'll put it this way. Blogging expands boundaries and allows both individuals and entire businesses to grow. We'll talk about this a bit later too. We'll touch on content aspects that can help you promote your business. What's really important is consistency. In blogging, it's important to always be consistent, always on the radar, as I always say. But there are moments like that. It's called burnout, when a person just doesn't feel like picking up the camera. And here there are two options. You need to understand why this happened to you in the first place. It could be simple burnout that will pass in a few days, or maybe it's an internal need to repackage yourself to find a new direction. Maybe the topic has stopped being interesting to you, and we'll talk about that later too. I'll tell you what to do in those moments and how to do a self-analysis to identify a new direction. And the most important thing is how to act afterward, when you realize that, yes, the topic you started your blog with no longer interests you. Let's move on to the next lesson. About 10 years ago, when I first started blogging, there was this trend where we all wrote posts. Everything was text-based, and we made images. It was quite a tedious process, and to be honest, there wasn't much creativity in it. But trends changed, and they mostly changed with the arrival of TikTok. TikTok became a game changer in the blogging scene. We switched to video, but you might say that video existed back when YouTube was around, and you'd be absolutely right. I took my first steps in video blogging right when I was running my YouTube channel, but today we see it again has undergone certain changes. Today, CAC, video content has gotten shorter, specifically to under a minute, about 35 to 60 seconds. This is the average length of modern content. Time has sped up and people want to consume more and faster. So the formats have changed as well, and we'll talk about that a bit later. Now the content is TikTok, short videos such as Shorts, which are very much like TikTok, and other platforms like Reels that are similar to TikTok. So today we have three main platforms that allow us to grow as bloggers. But is this really blogging? Let's figure it out. If you create blogging content on these platforms, you are more likely to not gain enough audience or followers, such as on social media platforms. The thing is, when we talk about short content and the word content in general, we're referring to a short video clip lasting from 40 to 60 seconds that conveys a specific idea. It could be a tutorial, a lesson, or maybe a sketch, or a quick drawing. We're not talking about blogging here because blogging in the format of, hey, how's it going? Today was this kind of day and I'm doing this and that just won't work on these platforms. That kind of content won't get views. That type of content is more suited for Instagram stories or TikTok stories, but it's not meant for your feed. Today is such and such a day, I'm doing this and that. That won't work on these platforms. That kind of content won't get views. That kind of content is more suitable for Instagram stories or TikTok stories, but definitely not for your feed. So, what do you need to understand? You're building your content in the form of two directions. First, you grab attention, meaning you take something and engage people with maybe entertaining, educational, or even relaxing content. You show them something that helps them unwind, like ASMR, and then you have a choice about where you direct your traffic. You could have a YouTube channel where you share your blog and talk about yourself. On Instagram, where you'll be blogging in stories and sharing about your day, how you spend it. But the primary task today, if we want to attract an audience, is to create content that attracts an audience, and we maintain our blog either on YouTube with full-scale videos, like for example a 10-minute video, or we keep a blog in Instagram stories or TikTok stories. Yes? You can, of course. Just upload a video to TikTok and tell how your day went. No one will judge you for it. But the point is, our goal is to increase our reach and attract as many people as possible to our audience. So you need to follow certain rules. We'll talk about them a bit later. These days, it's not about the quality of the picture, but the idea. I know many people who use basic devices, literally old phones, some minimal lapel mics, and their videos got a huge number of views. Why? Because there was always an idea behind those videos. And we'll talk about this idea in the upcoming lessons as well. Let's break down the different formats of content you can create and how to combine blogging with it and how blogging actually manifests through content. So, in the last lesson, we talked about the types of content, the most trending formats today, and how it's important to bring some value to your videos. Why? In reality, no one will subscribe and you won't be interesting to anyone if you don't have that value. That's exactly why I mentioned in previous lessons that it's important to provide what your audience needs, not what you want or what you think should be interesting to everyone. Of course, there are times when people can inspire others with their content. Not what you want, not what you think should be interesting to everyone. Of course, there are times when people inspire others with their content. For example, you write music, you create paintings, you craft something and you show it to people. In that case, you do what you love and inspire others. Indeed, that kind of content will gain views and it will be interesting to others, but probably not all of us can sing, paint, or stand out in some way. But some people have hobbies, like if you love sports, start a blog about sports, or if someone loves to travel, those who love to travel can film their journeys. I'll tell you that such videos get a lot of views because living in one country, people can't be in the place where you're filming. And of course, a certain group of people will have a specific interest in that country. So that's also a good option for growing your blog. When we talk about content, it's really important to consider your viewers' interests. Why? Because all modern social networks have algorithms that are designed to maximize watch time Every platform like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube are interested in keeping your viewers on that platform for as long as possible. So it's really important to write scripts and think through what you're going to shoot. And I'll tell you, the process is truly lengthy. There was a time when you could film anything on TikTok and quickly get a lot of views. And I will say this process is really long. There was a time when you could film anything you wanted on TikTok and get views pretty quickly. At that time, there was very little content on the internet and specifically on these platforms of vertical short videos. And naturally, the algorithms tried to push all content authors as much as possible and further. But that time has passed. Now you have to keep track of what you create, analyze what you have done, see what is going in and what is not. And that's the only way to achieve success. Most users on these platforms create content just for the sake of creating. I want to warn you against making videos just for the sake of making videos. Today, what's important here is not the quantity, but the quality. And quality isn't about production value. It's about the idea and the values that your video conveys. So, before you start anything, you should always grab some sheets of paper and start structuring your idea. Well, let's move on to the next lesson, and we'll gradually dive into the topic of blogging so you can become a full-fledged blogger in today's world and understand the difference between bloggers from the last decade and those of now. Why is today the perfect time to start your blog and finally start making money from it? The thing is, today's social media, specifically their algorithms, have given everyone an equal chance, which I can't say was the case with Instagram about 10 years ago. Only million followers bloggers were winning because the algorithms were very primitive. They were focused solely on the reactions of your audience at that time, and naturally, those with a larger audience gained traction faster, but everything has changed. Today, algorithms analyze viewer behavior. If a viewer watches your video for a longer time, then your video takes off, gets more views, and as a result, you gain popularity. So your chances are higher now than ever. And the only thing that will hold you back at the beginning are the certain limits you're in, fears and worries. But trust me, by the time you finish this course, those fears will be a thing of the past. The second thing I want to point out is that today, to start your blog, you don't need anything. You literally just need a phone and a little microphone for $6 if you can't afford something more expensive and higher quality. Although I'll tell you that a $6 lapel mic can give you just as good sound, sometimes even better than wireless DJI mics. So you'll need a phone, a microphone, and some kind of stand to hold the phone. Your total budget for your equipment is at most $40 if you already have a phone. So the most important thing to remember, and I always say this, is that wiping the lens improves the picture quality. And even with the worst phone, you can achieve good results. And the only thing you need to pay attention to is the light. You can use light from the window, you can use natural daylight. Again, there's a solution. Don't need expensive equipment. And we understand that to run a blog today, you don't need a lot of money. You just need a good idea. So, where do you get this idea? We're going to go over the tools that will help you analyze these ideas, and I'll share with you a secret about how I help beginners, specifically business owners and SEO folks who are just getting into this topic. I teach them how to interact with the camera, what kind of content is best to start with, especially if you're promoting a business. And this format is so simple, it's so easy to convey and prepare for that after a certain cycle, about 30 or 60 videos, a person can comfortably take their phone in hand, walk around public places, and shoot videos. I will definitely share the accounts of my students whom I personally trained, so you understand that I traveled to other countries to teach people, and these people have achieved good results. Great, I would even say excellent, because I see that now. They can easily take the camera and shoot content in public places. That's cool, that's commendable. Is the content they shoot perfect? Well, it really comes down to whether a person wants to invest their time in thinking through the idea. I know one thing. Even a simple video about where you are, what you saw, and some personal commentary is better than nothing. But if you work out the idea, you just get better results. We're going to discuss topics like triggers. Triggers in videos are extremely important today. And when you create another video for your blog, there should be both triggers and hooks. We'll go into all of this in detail in the upcoming videos. So go ahead and start creating your TikTok account and get ready for the next lesson.